much. Thank you. It has been a pleasure to join with you.
Yes, so I'm so thankful. I would like to give a brief introduction of Mr. Bhushan Engde. Bhushan is a globally renowned food industry consultant, and he's trained as a food technologist from Marathwada Agriculture University. So we carry some of the same roots, and later on he went to University of Reading, United Kingdom. So he has worked on new product development, quality, technical, project division of food processing industry, and he has a very vast and extensive industrial experience in the private as well as public sector industries of not only India but also abroad. So in the public sector also he has a very significant contribution. He has served in the nodal agency of one of the ministry which is directly working on to the food, and that is nothing but Ministry of Food Processing Industries of India, as especially focusing for the Maharashtra state. And his major assignments include like creating opportunities in Maharashtra, especially for the ice cream manufacturers, policy initiatives in the agri and food processing sector, developing public-private partnership model for multiple food processing sectors. So you can see how vast and diverse experience Mr. Bhushan carries, and as a food industry consultant with Binder Technology Consultancy, he is a very proficient in project management, food safety, food laws, especially with respect to European food laws, risk analysis. He is also responsible for making detailed project reports. And I'm sure all of you are very versed and aware about project reports, strategic market research, policy analysis, sensory evaluation studies, and etc. etc. So Bhushan is involved in providing technical assistance to farmers, that is its added extra social help to farmers to increase the level of food processing, reduction of food wastage, and value addition, and so much. He has so much to tell and narrate. He has been working with FSSI. He has also conducted special training programs for World Bank, World Trade Center, Indian Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, that is MSME. So if some of you are also looking for market research or starting your own setup, the qualities and the strength and the things that are needed, Bhushan would guide us and help us in his today's lecture. So I'm very thankful, Bhushan, for sharing your expertise and having been agreed to come here and talk to my students. I'm sure this is going to be amazing session. So over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shalini, for having me here, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining in for this particular session. This is very immaculate session, and we'll make one. There are so many things, ups and downs in the food industry, and we have seen many things in the food processing industries, in particular, particularly in this year. And yes, if you particularly think, then marketing, the market research had changed. All the market research strategies that they were given by us, or they were detected or predicted by all people, they have crashed completely. And behind that, whole industry is working. I mean, of course, the food technologists are working on improving upon the research and development. They are working on, especially on low-cost food. That's a priority for all food industry sector, because naturally the economy is down. So we are working on low-cost and nutritious food. However, when it comes to the food processing industry, the marketing strategy is changing. Everyone is behaving, like the customer behavior is changing, the customer trends are changing, how they're eating, how they're adapting with the market is changing. So market research is one of the important sector in the food processing industry, and how we are working with all these things, how we are working with the what you call the 4 P's, that is product, place, promotion, and the what you call the price. So these all factors are changing, And yes, Binder Technology Consultancy, which I'm an entrepreneur of this consultancy. So we are the rare consultancy in India that we are doing entire project management of food processing industries, be it of all the sectors. More than that, we are doing a market research, and additionally, we are doing research and development, and of course, the training services. We are more into the capacity building training services, and we have been providing that services in India and abroad as well.
Wow. So, Bhushan, do you have any slides to share and talk, or you would like to prefer directly an interactive session, having questions and then addressing those questions directly?
I guess interactive session would be better so that I could speak to you and to your students.
Okay. So, meanwhile, I request all the students to type their question in the chat box, and I have some questions to ask you. So, by the time our students type here their questions, so Bhushan, I would like to know, because you are a BTech food technology and then you did your MTech from one of the very good university, reading university in UK, British University. So how did you establish your Binder Technology company, and what made you to take this giant decision to start your own business? So what would you like to tell about your Binder Technology to our students?
Well, to be honest, I would like to describe my career graph to you. It's very, like ups and downs when you compare with all normal food technologies in particular language, if you say at all. My career graph has been really up and down because I did my BTech here, and I never thought that I'll get a scholarship to study in top British university. And I got that, and after working there, after studying there, I thought, like many of my friends thought that I would settle there. No, again, my graph, my graph again was changed, and I thought of coming to India. And again, my friends and family thought that, I will continue my career in one of the, we have a session about MNC and many other, speakers. So I thought many of my near and dear ones told me that I would continue my career in MNC. So I did not continue that, but I, again, I joined the Ministry of Food Processing Industries department for the Maharashtra State Department. I was assigned there for the project division. So yes, and again, afterwards, there is a kind of path, then again, people thought that, he'll continue career here. Then again, I established my own consultancy and I established my career into project management, because, when I was doing all this work, and I came to India with purpose, and my purpose was to serve India, and that was my whole aim. And with that particular aim, I established my own consultancy, and with that particular aim, I joined the Ministry of Food Processing Industries Department for the Maharashtra state here. And while doing so, I just imagine, or I thought, why not combining all the experience, and why not combine all the experience that I have had and establishing own consultancy, and I established my own consultancy. So when I was working, I imagine, or I scrutinize, or I market research the loopholes in the whole supply chain where industry was lacking in the services. And yes, there were many people who were into project division. I mean, entire project management. So yes, project management means the entire end-to-end work, but it is related to only the machineries and plants and taking trials. I mean, it's a kind of routine job for any kind of food technologists that would do. And yes, that was my primary job. But more than that, the again secondary job that many people do is research and development. Of course, I mean, Binder Technology has been doing that kind of job as well. And now there have been like a different kind of hype in the market of training services. So we have been providing that as well. But no one was there into market research. So we are the rare consultancy. We have been doing market research with various companies, how to adapt with market, how to adapt with market situation, how to generate the market trends, and to do the survey of particular geographical location and how to work according to the system. There are many things that like this particular things in general motivated me to establish my own consultancy and working on this particular aim. And then I particularly chose the name of Binder Technology Consultancy because we are uh, binding entire global supply chain. That is right from making project report to project management to market research to training to R&D. We are binding everything. We are binding together in one roof.
Wow.
So I imagine and I thought that I should name this consultancy as Binder Technology Consultancy. And we haven't got the limited space here in India, but we have been working abroad as well. And Dr. Shalini, you are very much aware about the food processing industry. You're more senior to me. But like you're very versatile in your knowledge that how many consultancies are working abroad. Like nowadays, like there's a kind of nara that make in India or something like that. But how many consultancies, how many consultancies of this particular field are made in India and working abroad? So we are one of the rare consultancy that we have been working here. We are made in India and working abroad as well. We have been working serving both the markets.
Wow. Bhushan, because this question is very relevant. What made you to come back after doing MTech from one of the topmost university in London to come back to India and to start your own binder technology? So what thought came into your mind? It is just to serve the India? Was that the main objective or main aim? Because I have seen many of our students and my friends and relatives who have gone abroad, they have settled there and they have liked the foreign country so much that and because I've heard from them and I've seen also that there are multiple number of opportunities. So what is your comments about the opportunities that are available in India and abroad?
I mean, yes, opportunities are everywhere. So, I mean, be it abroad or be it, be it in India, opportunities are everywhere. Like you definitely need to work hard. That's more important. But I particularly thought that I should come back because I had a kind of intuition in my mind that I should come back and I should serve the country because I come from very prominent schools of India. I come from one of the prominent school, and the school is under the Ministry of Defense, that is the Sainik School Satara. Of course, primarily my background is from vernacular medium, and I joined the. I mean, I had of course, I also grew up in Nanded city, so like the background that we have had. And yes, I got naturally kind of admission in that school. And like after my schooling, I thought of course I thought I should serve India. And with that mindset, I came back here to serve India. And of course I really wanted to do something here in the ministry as well, and I wanted to establish. And yes, while doing so, I discovered many other things that which consultancies could not offer, because I was in continuous touch with many other industries. I was in touch with many consultants because on day-to-day basis, my particular job role was to serve the people and to deal with consultants of all the kinds. I was assigned to sanction. When I was working with the government, my role was assigned to sanction the projects for the entire Maharashtra state. So be it the bakery sector or fruit service table, entire whole supply chain, or like any other prominent sector. So while doing so, even I was responsible to assign sanction to mega food parks for the Maharashtra state. If you are aware of that, the projects, there are only two mega food parks as of in particular in this particular state. That is one is in Satara and one is in one is in Paitan. So I was in. I mean, it's not me, but it's just a kind of teamwork. So I was in the sanctioning team of the particular mega food parks as well. So while doing so, I really discovered the loopholes that food technologists could offer. And many times, I discovered that people were lacking in few works. People were lacking in technical competency, and so I took very decisive, step to establish my own consultancy. And of course, my entire background of the here in India or abroad, like I thought I should, bring all it together and to establish my own consultancy. But more than that, everywhere, whenever you work, you should work very honestly. I mean, here, I mean, we have many students. That's why I should be using that work. I should be using that particular word. And one more thing I would like to, I would like to focus on one particular point. When you are a student, your aim is to study, not to work. I mean, many of you may study abroad, but your intention would be, oh, I want to discover kind of job, or like I want to have a part-time job, or I want to work. No, when you're a student, your main aim is to work. I mean, your work. I mean, your main work is study, not to work. I mean, that's something part-time job, or you may discover that. But studying abroad, of course, means a work as well. I mean, a work other than your studies, but your I mean, you need to be very focused on your studies. That's very important.
Oh,
And whenever I studied whenever I studied here at abroad, I mean, my main was to study, and of course, then I returned back, and yeah, that's how I started my
wow.
whole career.
So you started your like you took this courageous decision of starting the binder technology as a consultant. So we have today with us students, postgraduate student, MTech student, UG, BSc Food Technology, BTech Food Technology. So what qualities do you think needed for a fresher? Can a fresher think of starting their own food consultancy business? What qualities one need to start the food consultancy business?
Uh, One more, I mean, the more important thing is discipline is very important. Whatever you do, discipline of any other thing. I mean, discipline is very important. How you work, when you work, how you report. That things matter to the consultant a lot. I mean, it's a very prominent what you call word. But again, second thing, the decision making is very important, that I think.
And okay, apart from decision making, generally for freshers, do you think industry do approach for consultation, or they look for some specific qualities like us? If the person is more experienced, so for that more experienced person, maybe more consultation would get. And do you need some special setup, or do you need some special office to start with or work with? So how our students, suppose they want to start this business, how can they go? You have to unmute, Bhushan. Sorry.
Yeah. So basically, you don't perhaps need a setup or something like that. Yes, you need to have a setup for your R&D. That's very important thing, but you don't need any kind of specific setup when you are at small scale. However, during your market research or during your training, of course, market research is something that you work on ground or survey level, so you don't need any kind of particular setup. However, may need a space when you're working for research and development, but you may hire those places, or you have a kind of your own small laboratory at your own place. That's the only thing that you may need. Other than that, I really don't think that you may need any kind of space to hire any office, because many of us are working from home, or many consultants in India or abroad are working from home, and they are highly they're highly prominent, and they are working with very same quality like any other consultants. But yes, you may need a different kind of positioning. You may need a different kind of approach towards your market. You need to be very much alert. That's the only thing. But training halls and something that you may need. I mean, I'm being fortunate that, like, I mean, I have got, I mean, ample of training houses that do hire me as a trainer. But more than that, I feel that this particular opportunity is not equal for everyone. So in many cases, you may need spaces, particularly for training and R&D. But when you're doing project management, it's at the, like your client's place. When you're doing research and development, we are doing scale up trials, it's at your client's place. So you may not need in major, I mean, you may not need at major places, that I believe.
Wow. So, what qualities do you think one need to, acquire? Like, do you have you undergone any empowering training or some special training that empowered you to do that market research or project related activities? So, do you recommend any such kind of trainings for our students so that they are more better equipped and can handle such things then in a better way?
Well, I would like to begin my, like, there are many other things. I mean, like when I was doing my, post graduation at Reading, so I got big, interesting projects to do, which may, I was working with on one risk analysis project with Peru. I mean, I was assigned. I mean, like, so it was kind of a very rare project that some cadmium was found in Peru's, like supply chain. So I was, and I mean, it was a team of our students that we were working on the same thing. Again, we work on the same project of, Cadbury's. Again, when I joined the ministry, that time I was, like working on very interesting project. As you mentioned in my introduction, I was working on one of the ice cream project. I was, like researching whole marketing supply chain, whole consumer supply chain, whole, distribution supply chain of the particular state.
So, while working in this consultation area, you said you were initially Ministry of Food Processing, um, Ministry of Food Processing. So, how did you get to Ministry of Food Processing? And today we have with us fresh graduates and postgraduates. So, if at all some of them would like to enter into Ministry of Food Processing job, what qualities they can gain and how can they enter into Ministry of Food Processing job?
Well, it is really competitive. Of course, I mean, quality wise, of course, in whichever job you do, you should do with honesty. It's the same as other jobs as well. You need to be very alert. You need to find advertisement. You need to spot advertisement in government jobs. You need to spot advertisements. And yes, I would say interviewing and your presentation skills carry, I mean, and that matters a lot. Your reporting matters a lot, any kind of job. And yeah, it is very important when when I was doing on, when I was in working with project division. So I was working on different assignments. So your knowledge of all the fields is very important. Particularly, like I got some, like when you're a food technologist, for example, if you work in Lay's or if you work in, some kind of chips factory, then your portfolio becomes only for the chips. If you work in dairy, then your portfolio becomes only for the dairy sector. If you work for any, like flavor industry, then your portfolio becomes only a portfolio. I mean, like flavor sector. And again, if I would continue more, I would like to add, like if you're working in product development, I mean, what you call R&D, then your portfolio entirely becomes of R&D. If you're working in regulatory, then your portfolio becomes only of regulatory. If you're working in quality assurance, I mean, your portfolio becomes of entire field, I mean, of quality only. But, like it's not the case of the government. You need to be very versatile. You need to adopt with various situations. You need to have a knowledge of all the fields. For example, like we don't have a separate teams to sanction. Of course, all the teams are very compatible, and all the positions are based on like all are very brilliant people. And yes, we assign, I mean, we scrutinize the project according to the like government standards need and government's like format, and according to the regulatory services of the government. So yes, you need to be very like you need to work very hard. For example, like I still remember, a sanctioning a project is not a small thing. I mean, like there are few machineries and like plant and the landscape and civil and the layout and all. Like it was kind of new for me when I was doing that. But eventually, like studying all these things, that was only my primary stage kind of research, and I developed it. But more than that, like it is very important how you take the steps and how you look out and how you develop yourself. That matters a lot. For example, you are very much aware about the FSSI head. I'm not calling for the like or the like any kind of FDA heads. Are they food technologists? No. They are not, certainly. So yes, you need to work very hard. You need to be, I mean, you need to develop yourself. You need to develop your skill sets, and that matters a lot at each stage. And yes, uh, I mean, as a student, of course, here we have students. So yes, you need to have a knowledge of all the sectors. That matters a lot to you.
Uh-huh. Okay. We have one. I will take quickly one question from student who has sent me the question. Um, so, Mr. Bhushan, can you explain the scope of a student who is pursuing chemical engineering as a major with food technology as a minor subject? So, what is the scope of that background student in a food industry?
I mean, there is ample of scope. Chemical students work everywhere, especially flavor industry, or like what you call nutraceutical industry. That's one of the like developing player of entire world. We have seen that how pandemic had changed the nutraceutical industry's language, and that matters a lot. I mean, the chemical is like where everywhere we use chemicals, and there are n number of chemicals, food chemicals that we use in our day-to-day life, even in formulation, in R&D, particularly in product development. It matters a lot how your students are working and how you're developing your skill set. So yes, in product, particularly in R&D, it matters a lot.
Thank you so much, KP, for asking this nice question. And yes, in fact, there are so many successful chemical engineer from our own institute who have entered into food technology and working in the food industry exclusively on various topics that are related to food. So the food itself is a chemical, so there is no problem at all. So coming back to
Right.
I have another question. You have studied in one of the top British food technology university. So, and you see in India also we have variety and different institutions who are having food technology courses and universities. So, do you draw any difference in food technology? As differences, studying differences in the UK as well as India, because you have done your graduation in India and then did your postgraduate studies from abroad. So, what would be your message to our student, or what differences do you think? And if at all, if you want to recommend our student whether they should, conduct their initial studies here and go to abroad, or what kind of, message based on your own experience and expertise you would like to give it to our students?
In particularly, I believe that there is the main difference that I spotted was the more research space is given to students abroad, that I feel. And here in India, more focus is given on technical stuff, that I particularly feel. Secondly, the more when the like thesis or dissertation part comes, students they are given a different kind of what you call the freedom to explore their own research ideas. That is more important. Not only research ideas, but the students are I mean, they are given more freedom to generate their own conclusion. So this is very important for the students to develop their own thinking, to develop their own critical analysis. What you call meta-analysis is very important in any kind of any kind of scientific body. So that matters very important for us. And like I don't want to compare how the for example, we may study we may study I mean, many of you are from food engineering background, so like we may study Fraser here in India, and we also study Fraser in UK as well. He's also one of the prominent professor of Reading. So you may study here that, and you may study there as well. But the important quality, I mean, the important thing that I particularly believe that like how students take their approach towards their study is very important. How they look into the practical analysis is very important. And more than that, there is no much difference. I mean, of course, the study matter is important, the critical analysis is very important, but like I don't want to say, but like the maybe you should analyze, I mean, how many Nobel prizes we have won. I mean, as India, how many Nobel prizes we have won in science field. I mean, there is only one science Nobel Prize that India has ever received in science, that particular person has worked entirely in India. I mean, there are n number of Nobel Prizes that we have. I mean, India has won. I mean, they have a kind of like they have studied abroad, or they have worked abroad, and like they were professors, or like they were like they were engaged with other professions abroad. But there is only one person, and that's C.V. Raman. And afterwards, India has not won, I mean, any kind of Nobel Prize, in particularly in science field. And that shows that we definitely need to take decisive decisions. We need to particularly focus on different solution to bring more practical and more kind of critical thinking in our field. That matters a lot, that I particularly feel.
Wow, great. Very nice, Bhushan. We have one question from Vivek Maurya, and he would like to know what is project management, and how the fresh graduate students can understand it in a simple language, and how that would be beneficial whether one goes to an industry or to start our own entrepreneurship. So what is it, project management? Very good question, Vivek Maurya. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivek, for your question. Project management is more related to the food processing industry, and it's about establishing industry. For example, if anyone is looking for to establish or expand their food processing industry, then like bringing their machineries all together, taking their scale up trials, scaling up their projects, working on their like the small things, their needs, what you call the layout, their entire structure of food processing industry. That is known as the project management in the that is known as the entire project management field. And that's very important for students, and of course to like for industrialists to work on. And more importantly, like Binder Technology Consultancy is committed to like to the highest quality of food industry research, and that means to the investors expectations. And the food processing industry has emerged as one of the imperative segment in the global economy. And like how we organize ourselves, how we do exceptional like planning, or like organizational skills. And that particular segment matters, and how we organize and how we put entire like thing. For example, it's like a event management, what you call, if like nowadays like you might be termed with this like easier terms, event management nowadays, marriage event management and everything, like how they structurize your whole marriage, right from your clothes to jewelry to your hall to decorators to your like food. I'm just simplifying in the like my terminology in simple language, and that is known as here same into the like food industry project management. We here manage entire food processing industry, their laboratories, their layout, their like entire flooring, their sketching, and like taking care of the entire technical matter that comes into the food industry. And and more importantly, we need to ethically work according to the food laws. And
Okay.
that is very important, and so that is project management. And thank you, Vivek.
For asking this question. It's a very good question and a basic question. What is market research and how our food technology graduate student can use that market research while being in food processing industries or working there or starting their own setup?
Market research is very important thing. That means we have to particularly work on 4 Ps. For example, if anyone is looking forward to establish any industry, then we need to begin by market research. And if not done, many times project fails. For example, like for example, if anyone wants to establish their food processing, is I get many clients and they say, like अरे यार ये मैंने बर्फी वगैरह बना दी है, मेरी मम्मी को अच्छा लगता है, इसलिए मुझे डालनी है मार्केट में. So that kind of people say, but like what your mummy likes, that's not a universal taste. So like we need to work with the product, how you should formulate your product, how you should formulate the price is very important, because we stay in Mumbai and we have like Ambanis as well, and we have people who are like in other parts of Mumbai who are malnourished as well. That's a critical term, but I need to use it, and it's a real fact. So like according to the customers and clients' preference, we need to adjust and think of it's I mean the pricing as well, and that's very important. And more than that, the promotion is very important, and how we promote, and like what is our group sector. It is it's a female or male, or what is the age, and for example, like we have studied or observe a very hidden term in terminology in our day-to-day life, that pink is for girls and blue is for boys, and still we carry on this term all together since ages. And I don't know who brought this evolution of this term, but like that's how market goes on. So we need to think about it as well. And very important thing, the place. I mean, 4th P is very important. The pricing, I mean, place where you are launching your product. For example, it's in rural India. For example, many of you are from Mumbai and you're aware about the Mumbai. So people, I mean, like your product might work in one of the posh locality in Bandra, or like in what you call South Mumbai, but it may not work in Western Mumbai, or like Northern Mumbai or so. So you need to particularly work on how we are assigning to launch that particular project in that particular place. That matters a lot. And if you are propelling all these terms together, then only we can like launch a product. So we need to have a kind of survey of all the things. And like of course we have done surveys for other countries as well, and they have been quite critical. For example, we have worked on BRICS market survey, that is how these all countries are doing and how they should be trading with each other. That is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. These particular countries carry or what you call generate one of the largest what is GDP of the globe. I mean, these are all developing countries, and they all together generate more than 50 or nearby percent of entire finance. So it is very important how these countries are exchanging their products, and what kind of strategies are very important for them to survive in the market, and how they are transporting. So these are very important things, and this particular market research is very important. This theme is very important, geographical location wise, gender wise, and there are n number of what you call terms that are very important when you come to the market research. And yeah, these things matters a lot. No matter how small companies, according to your budget, you need to analyze and diagnose the market according to its needs, and then only you should think. Otherwise, I feel that there could be many challenges.
market research itself is important when you want to start a company, or you want to help or assist the company like yours, Mr. Bhushan. You have your own consultancy, but rather here, what I have picked from your narration and answer is market research. When you are a student and looking for job, then also you need to understand the market of a company, what products they have, what related statistics they carry, and everything. I think market research is applicable
Right.
everywhere, whether you are a fresh graduate, or even when I'm a faculty and I'm studying, teaching or studying, so I should know the market in that particular area. So I should know, like, what are the universities that are coming into existence, what type of qualities a student look in an institution, and what should be the delivery. I think the market research is a very important terminology, and one should gain an expertise or develop the knowledge in that particular area. So thank you so much, Bhushan. Going ahead with another question, what trends do you think in future would impact the market, and how as a food technologist we should look at it as an opportunity? What are those trends do you think, as per your experience and expertise?
Currently, as far as market, the trends are really changing. I mean, the trends that we have observed, that we have worked, particularly as a consultancy, that have failed. I mean, the whole pandemic situation has failed. I mean, this particular situation had changed the entire situation. How we are changing the market is very different, and we are again re-scratching our work. Everyone is working hard to develop their own trends, how they should put up their field. But now, like as I said, the economy is down, the job situation is down. So there's kind of different kind of saturation in India as well and abroad as well. So people are working on low cost and nutritious food. More than that, I mean, we are fortunate country. I mean, we are, like India is very fortunate country that we have around 60% of people who depend on agriculture and allied activities, and including you and me as a food technologist. So we also depend on agriculture and allied activities. So the main important thing is that how like the trends are really changing in the market. So the low cost food is very important. The beverage trends are really coming now. Many people are just working on the packaging, what you call, the packaging trends are changing. People are adapting different kind of innovative packaging, so that's very important. So I mean, people are working on different kind of packaging. Even that particular trend is very important for the market, how to present to the people. How, I mean, we have seen Bisleri's trend, for example, like it was a kind of, like when they launched, it was a big bottle, like then 5 liter, 20 liter, like how they change and how they, like adapted the packaging system is, we have seen that, and that particular trend is, like developing in all kind of food. So packaging trend is very important. The beverage trend is very important. We never thought the haldi would be used in any kind of, like a drink or something like that. For example, as a child, we thought, like it was the beauty product, but beauty product turned into food, but food, and like it turned into antiseptic as well. So like this kind of trends are changing. For example, even same as badam, like what you call almond, like we use into food. It is in skin cream, it is used into like herbs, like many other things. Even likewise, I would like to say one of the companies in US launched their yogurt shampoo. So like why I would like to particularly focus here as well. People never thought that yogurt shampoo means, people thought that it is for consumption. And their marketing strategy failed at that moment, to be honest. It was from PNG company. So yes, I mean, yes, many times it works, many times it may fail, but like how we are putting it into the market, that is very important. And we need to definitely work on how the trends are changing, how the things are happening in the market. And like I would like to particularly mention one important thing, that Binder Technology Consultancy has been working on we know like the midday meal program as well. The hunger is increasing in India. I mean, yes, the hunger has been increasing because the index is coming down. and we have been working alongside the government's dairy to, like they are working on different kind of things. So we have been working not only on industries, but we have been working on this kind of projects as well to improve and work and to make India as a better country for improving the, nutrition of the that the midday meal is for the, school kids, and of course some part is given for the lactating women as well, because their future depend on, like the entire generation.
Are you facing any challenges because of this COVID pandemic?
Yes, everyone is facing challenges, not only me. Nowadays, the virtual platforms are really increasing. So, like for small consultancies or big consultancy, like the contact between clients has decreased. So that is one of the big challenge that we are facing. The more challenge that we have been seeing, that, like the people are working more into research and development. So it's a really kind of a lot of work for us as well, because we have been discovering people are coming up with new ideas, I would say. It's not it may be a kind of challenge, but, people, they think, for example, the new generation idea is something very challenging for us sometimes, because people come with many different ideas, and, like we have to give them we need to serve them with set of ideas according to the rules and regulation of India. Sometimes people go abroad and they bring some kind of stuffs here, but, that doesn't fit here in Indian food laws. So that is something kind of change that we have observed, that I feel. Rather than that, I think the COVID has opened new doors for the food processing industry. I mean, first thing that everyone was thought, oh, line up, I mean, queuing up before the, kind of any kind of shops or kirana, or that is something that was that was brilliantly observed, and we have done it all together. I remember, I guess that time you were from you was returning, I mean, you were in Brazil, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess between same duration I was traveling from UAE.
I know. Totally.
So we were all both in different situation that time.
It was very challenging, and still we are going to face the challenges. The challenges and hurdles have not yet over. Like just to add, like in Brazil, the number of patients affected with pandemic or COVID were decreased, but in between they had this. Uh, Celebration of Christmas and party, and again, the area is in the red alert zone, and that's how the situation has become very worst, including the impact on food industry. So I have another question. So I know that you have been addressing several national and international conferences and forums. Your expertise is benefiting so many millions food technologies and food industries. Sooner you will be addressing the world's largest annual food and beverage trade, that is at Gulf Food Innovation Summit. And what are you going to address at the Gulf Food 2021?
Well, I'll be addressing on few more subjects at this particular Gulf Food, Expo this year, and it is one of the exciting thing for me, because I'll be addressing on the strategies of 2021, in particularly in food processing R&D, how and what kind of research, kind of strategies that research and development companies are working. For example, like us, we are working, as I said, that we are working on R&D strategies, and we are developing food for many other companies as well. So what kind of strategies people are looking forward to develop in market? So we are working on particular that subject. So we have worked on with a particular state in here in Karnataka state in India. So I'll be, like presenting our study, how and what things that like people are looking forward, and what thing I mean, what all things are happening in the market. And other I got I'll be, this year Gulf Food has around participation across 85 countries. So I'll be in the context of pandemic, so I'll be training people there as well. I mean, we have been doing here as well, and I'll be doing same thing in UAE as well this year. What are challenges facing and what all scientific precautions people should be taking, and these are two major things that I'll be addressing in the conference. And I'll be part of few more panel discussion in related to one of the biggest India and UAE corridor. I don't know, but how many of you are aware about the India and UAE corridor? That's one of the major deal that India has bagged, and so I'll be addressing on that. And one of the thing that specialty that I'll be working on now, a market research of Africa, as well as in the panel discussion with along with the panelists.
Wow, what a great contribution to the society, as well as you have been serving to food industry not only in India but also other countries you have been working for and serving. So, Bhushan, what last message from one with your own experience you would like to give to all the graduate students who are looking for their bright future and career? What is your one last message?
Well, food is very important. It's very important commodity if you look at it, and it's one of the product as well. It is one of the like we say, food is like treated as a god, but it's very important as a food technologist how you change the direction, how you look at the food, and how you mold it, and how you describe, and how you increase shelf life of the product is very important. So at each stage of global I mean, in the supply chain, food changes is is style. So you need to adapt and you need to work according to food style, and that's very important for us. And that is very challenges. I mean, yes, you don't need to I mean, I mean, you need to develop your knowledge how your grandmother or how your mother has given to you. And I would like to come to very small thing in the your kitchen. Your home kitchen is one of the greatest R&D, research and development center in the world. And every now and then how you develop your food, how you eat it, that gives you different ideas, and that's a great learning point. And I would like to give last message that you should learn each and everything from the smallest thing, and that becomes that become a big thing later, that I believe. And yes, as a consultant, as a founder consultant of Binder Technology Consultancy, yes, we have been binding entire supply chain, and that's our aim at here in India and abroad as well. And we have been doing. And yes, if you like to if you like more, I mean, if you need any guidance, then please do approach me. That would be very interesting.
That's such a kind and generous help you have offered, Bhushan. If you do not mind, can you type your email address? And there are many questions our students would like to know, and I request those students can directly write to you, take your guidance, take your mentoring, and get connected to you. Please type your email ID here in this chat box. Yes, thank you so much, Bhushan, for being here today with us and sharing your experiences, thoughts, and enlightening my students here who are attending the career opportunities in food science today. So thank you so much, and I look forward for your more mentoring and guidance in your future.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shalini, for having me here. It is very interesting to speak with you. I mean, how you are bringing all students together and taking their care during the COVID and in this time as well. Wish you all the best for your this particular channel, and thank you to all the students. And yes, the final thing, I would like to see you all live in person. Please take care of your health, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bhushan. We will soon meet on a live platform because pandemic is getting over. So thank you so much. Thank you, students. We have been talking to Mr. Bhushan for past 1 hour, and it's been so nice and informal and in a very easy and simple examples. He has been giving so many good examples, and thank you so much for answering so many questions for our students. Thank you so much.